Wow, what a title screen, huh? Also, I want you to take a minute to just listen to the music that plays during the main menu. Seriously, just listen to this. So, around the time the first Toy Story movie came out, there was a video game adaptation released on 4 platforms, those being the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, and there was even a version on PC. If you never knew there was a Toy Story video game and I played this rendition of Strange Things, what would you think? Would you believe me if I told you it came from the Genesis version? I highly doubt it. Does it sound like Genesis music to you? Not only did this game push the limits of what the Sega Genesis was capable of visually, but auditorily too. There are already videos on YouTube that go in depth about the technical stuff that goes into making this game the way it is. I'll leave links in the description. But I want you to appreciate this music because let's compare it to the rest of the tracks in the game. The regular level themes sound a heck of a lot more like Genesis music than the themes from the main menu and end credits. Yeah, there's 2 tracks in this game that have a more unique sound to them than what you hear in a typical Genesis game. I can probably understand why the soundtrack is like this. I bet the cartridge space couldn't handle that much of the new sound. Now don't get me wrong, I love the soundtrack in this game. While it only has 2 songs you'd recognize from the movie, the rest of the tracks are just the same, highly memorable, and they sound like they could have been heard in the movie. But it's so strange that the only times you hear this sort of sound in the music is on the main menu and after you beat the game. Now, I'm covering the Genesis version for this video because it has the most content out of all the platforms that have this game. These cutscenes are your first sign. The text, while it doesn't always clarify who's speaking, are always accompanied by images. This at least gives you a grasp of what the story is in the event that you for some reason hadn't watched the film beforehand. I can understand why the Game Boy version didn't have images, but the SNES had the crappiest deal with the cutscenes of them all. While the Genesis and PC always had images accompanying the story text, the SNES version only has images sometimes. And worse, the SNES version is the only one to be dead silent for its cutscenes, rather than a rendition of You Got a Friend in Me. This isn't a sin towards the Genesis version, it's a sin towards the difference between the 2 feuding 16-bit consoles of the time. Mostly in that I don't understand why it is the way it is. Sega really did what Nintendo don't. Their advertising slogan proved true. Couldn't these things wait until I knock Buzz out the window? I don't even know he exists just yet. Are there no other letters on these blocks? They're letter blocks. Cubes, 3-dimensional shapes with 6 square faces. A letter on each face. And oh my god, these particular blocks are B's? I don't believe Andy could like no other letter displayed. These balloons you pop could sometimes give you a health star, but most of the time they just spawn flies that hurt you. I'm not sure how random it really is. It was like a minute ago that I lassoed this train, and only now as I'm going back to snag more bonus stars does it break free. But actually, on that subject, how does it make sense? Not only does Woody use his pull string as a lasso in this game, which upon releasing is actually meant to trigger a voice line, the pull string is still attached to his back when he uses it, so how are the enemies getting tied up when I lasso them? You guys are slow. I've been screwing around collecting more of the bonus stars and still not all the men got to the chopper? How fragile is Mr. Potato Head anyway? Maybe fragile's not the right word, but his pieces are scattered outside the toy box. Also, how did these fools get up in their spots, and why couldn't they just get out themselves? They don't need my help. They're just pacing back and forth between the block pillars. Also, you'd think Garcia would stop ramming into the pail constantly. Why is it that Robot and Rex don't just sit still for the pump to get launched into the toy box? You know, like Ham's doing? I guess I can understand Rex, but Robot? Buzz the Egyptian. Inner space swimming. Seriously, he's not in outer space, is he? This one-up is super hard to get without taking damage from the bottom of the... Hold the phone! In most video games, falling to the bottom of the screen results in instant death, right? Not in this level, apparently. But anyway, the sad thing is that extra lives are actually pretty scarce in this game, so you're gonna need them to beat it. So what you just witnessed was my first time dying on this run, but this game doesn't seem to have a death animation programmed in, so if you lose your last hit point, you might miss what the heck just happened if you blinked. It's just back to the checkpoint. It doesn't really help how big your sprite is, so chances are you're gonna die plenty of times and not exactly know why. Aww, now all the toys think Buzz can fly. Well, in a couple of days everything will be just the way it was. They'll see. In the morning, I'll still be Andy's favorite toy. Hate to disagree, Woody, but look at that space poster on the wall. Fighting Nightmare Buzz is actually really easy once you know what you're doing. The confusing thing is when you can hit him. You'd obviously figure that you can start hitting him once you get rid of the fireballs that act as a shield, and you can. But the problem is, in order for him to take a hit, you have to do it while he's tapping his wrist communicator to teleport. Now, why when he's about to teleport? Why only when he's about to teleport as opposed to when he's still flying around? Also, this level wasn't based on anything from the movie and was simply inserted to pad the game out, which I think is great. When you're making a movie licensed game and simply just following the story doesn't make for a long enough experience, it's good to insert new elements to give it some meat. Now, that's not to say this game is by any means long, because it isn't, but the game wouldn't be nearly as fun if it didn't have the original content inserted for a much more complete experience. That said, there are some ridiculous things that are made up for that purpose, which don't worry, we'll get to as we go. Dinner at Pizza Planet? Asks Andy's mom. And bring a toy. That kind of makes it sound like a chore, when Andy's mom only said he can bring a toy. But why make it sound like a chore? They're just going out to eat. This is one of 2 levels where you're in this top-down view, driving RC car around the stage, and the controls of them suck. It's not so much the fact that you use the C button to accelerate, you have to press left or right to make the turns. The turning just feels like crap, and if you bump into anything, you're liable to spin out, making it harder to get back on track. It's especially frustrating in this level because you cannot miss hitting Buzz in this level, because each time you ram him, you'll also have to collect the power cells he drops. Otherwise, RC will run out of battery and you'll lose a life. You practically have no margin for error. Every 200 tin stars you collect in total will allow you to play a bonus game to refill your health meter, which you're gonna need. You can have a maximum total of 5 hit points, and it doesn't refill in between stages like it would in most games, so you have absolutely no excuse to not do well in these bonus games, especially once you get the hang of how it works. That's not to say the game is stingy with its hit points, but games should have the energy refill each time you beat a level. Woody! The toys are really mad at you for what you've done to Buzz! Personally, I don't know, but I hate confrontations. Oh, I'm so upset. I don't even know where I'm going. If you can help me get out of the bedroom, I promise I'll do the same for you should you ever need me. And here's another liberty taken with the source material. In this level, you're trying to help a panic-stricken Rex out of the room. Now it's the letter Y? In the first level, it was all B's, and here it's all Y's? I don't get it. Anytime there's a level with letter blocks, why is it just one letter across all of them? Here's an annoying thing about this game that's actually only a real problem starting with Revenge of the Toys. Too many leaps of faith. The camera's so zoomed in on Woody that when you're doing platform jumping, half the time you have no idea where you're gonna land. It makes sense that the coins wouldn't be going out the bottom, but rather the top where you insert the coins into him, but how are his insides doing that? And I can't believe I just asked that question out of all possible questions for Toy Story. Oh, how I hate confrontations! Frankly, I don't know what to make of all this, but you helped me through the bedroom, so hop on and let's get out of here! We're still playing, and not only that, we're riding a dinosaur? That's pretty cool, but I thought we were gonna get back on track. Buzz! I'm so glad you're alright! You know, Sheriff, we don't practice revenge on my planet. But we're not on my planet, are we? Buzz swings at Woody, and when the car stops for gas, they tumble out unseen. I get what they mean by that, but you make it sound as though the fight started on the way to the gas station, not when they stopped. This boss fight sucks. It's all about lassoing this tire and trying to get it to land on Buzz. I know it looks like I suck crap at it, but I seriously have no idea how the hits register. I know it has something to do with launching the tire with multiple whiffs, but I can't get the exact feel for it. It's one of those boss fights where you have no idea what it's like unless you've played it yourself. What's even weirder is that when you get the tire on Buzz, he opens his wings and spins around, freeing him from the tire. How does that work? How do his wings get him out of the tire? Try and cross Pizza Planet, avoiding the falling food and drink. Watch out for Buzz bumping into you. Hint, look out for the kids running after their paper planes. Thanks for the hint, but how do I look out for them? Yes, by pressing down, but the game doesn't elaborate on that. The vending machines could have the very simple answer of being broken, which is why so many soda cans are spilling from them. But nothing can explain the falling burgers, fries, and hot dogs from the tables, which, by the way, no one's sitting at. Then again, the toys are alive, so maybe this place is actually haunted, despite Pizza Planet being a very populated area. Also, this restaurant is called Pizza Planet. I'm not completely discounting the appearance of burgers, fries, and hot dogs, but there's no pizza slices dropping from the tables. Either there's some serious false advertising here, or by some miracle, none of the customers actually ordered pizza. Maybe it doesn't stack up to the slices you get at the Pizza Planet at Disneyland? The description before the level started said kids were running after their paper airplanes. That is not even close to a jog. They're just out for a leisurely stroll. Whoa, hold up. The movie made things look easy. Buzz entered the machine through the prize chute, and Woody followed the same way. But here, we're actually traveling through the inner workings of the claw machine? Did we need to go in that deep? These moving platforms are a pain to deal with the first time, mostly because the first one you jump on has a specific pattern. Only by following that pattern can you make it past this hurdle, but that just means failing multiple times to study the pattern. Your reward? You get to continue the level. Hooray! If anyone wants to see if they can get through this part without taking a fan blade up the butt, all I can really wish was luck. Wow, way to reward an explorative player with literally nothing. Or so it seems. Upon further research, there's actually a secret room. But why would you think there's a secret room behind this tube when there's infinite coins pouring down here?
Oh, a visitor from the outside. If you will help save our friends who are trapped inside the machine, we will reward you by taking you to see the claw!
More stuff in the claw machine? Can't I just get to Buzz already? We intro Toy Story to bring you Wolfenstein 3D, a PC game, and surprisingly this level was cut from the PC version. Also, this level isn't exactly hard, just a huge departure from the rest of the game, and the controls aren't that smooth. But what do you expect when you're trying to use a directional pad to move around in a three-dimensional environment? Also, the game rewards you with stars based on how quickly you beat the level, but how fast do they expect you to do it? There are a maximum of 50 tin stars to collect in each of the 18 stages in the game, making for a total of 900 tin stars. At the end of the level, you also get a health refill for collecting 45 stars, or an extra life for collecting all 50. I beat this stage about as quickly as I could do it. There were 80 seconds on the clock left, and I got 39 stars out of it. So let's do some math here. You have 180 seconds or 3 minutes to beat the stage. That's 3.6 seconds per star. But that can't be right because 3.6 times 39 is 140.4, which is 39.6, not 80, less than 180. So yeah, I have no idea how fast I need to be to get all 50 stars in this level. You want an extra life here? Well, good luck. Try and stop Sid from picking up Buzz with the claw. Hint, keep Buzz safe until Sid has used all his coins up. That's not a hint, that's just what you need to do to beat the level. Obviously I'm gonna keep Buzz safe as long as I can. It's pretty awkward how it works too. It's not as simple as just using your lasso normally to launch the aliens into the claw. No, you need to first lasso straight ahead, then hold the D-pad up and lasso a second time to launch the aliens into the air. That's the only way to knock them into the claw and release its grip on Buzz. And you better make sure you implant that in your brain. Once the claw grabs Buzz and takes him all the way to the right side of the screen, you lose a life and you have to restart the boss fight. With some practice, you can get it down, but then you also have to make sure you position yourself to avoid contact with the claw. But you can't just worry about the claw. There's also this long wire dangling from where the claw is moving. That wire could damage you too. What's up with that, right?
You must not fight the will of the claw. All must obey the claw. Ooh! The claw, it moves again.
How? I thought Sid already used up his coins. Or did he find another one under the machine itself? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Sid uses the claw to pick up Buzz. Woody, trying to keep Buzz from being taken, grabs Buzz's legs and before he can let go, is lifted up into the air as well. First off, there should be a period at the end of the sentence, not a comma. Second, the alien lassoing seemed to work pretty well the first time. You're not gonna do that again? Gosh, cowboy. Sid stuffs his new toys deep into his backpack and, with a second evil laugh, heads home to play. I know that's how he said it in the movie, but there's some implication in the way it's structured, and I don't like it. Make your way across Sid's desk, but look out for Sid. Look out for Sid? I can't really do anything about him this entire level, so what do I need to look out for? I really don't find it worth the risk to try to grab that 1-up under the first checkpoint, as enticing as it may seem. You know how you don't die instantly from hitting the bottom of the screen in the ego check level? This level ain't so nice. The bottom of the screen in Sid's workbench is instant death. What a weird design choice, huh? I just got through one round of my head being on fire. Isn't that enough? Why a second dose of that immediately after? Buzz is somewhere in Sid's room and you have to find him, but keep moving and look out for things. Yeah, in the movie they were scared of the mutant toys at first, but they never meant any harm in the first place. But here's the game version where they're enemies for a bit. These soda cans bouncing around? Bro, that is not normal, even by Toy Story standards. For goodness sake, do not stop holding right on the D-pad. Also, this goes on for a while. It's a nice way to shake things up, but there's quite a length to using Buzz's karate chop action. Come on, Buzz, let's get out of here. Woody, I'm not really a space ranger. I'm just a toy, just a child's toy. Didn't Buzz find that out by watching a commercial about him? Look, this is a video game, so we have to keep things moving along. Good thing this shot is too pixelated to let you easily see what's going on outside. I'll tell you what's going on outside. It's raining, meaning Sid wouldn't be able to light the rocket yet. But like I said, it's a video game, so let's move! I didn't say anything about Run Rex Run because it was a better designed autoscorer level than this later one. Like, I get it, you want to make the later stages harder, but there's just too much crap flying around the screen. Rockets up your butt, bombs, rolling soda cans, and the occasional scud that gains on you from behind. On its own, with the rockets, the bombs, and the soda cans, I can only ask, what the heck is wrong with the Phillipses? But also, with the Rex level, it's easy enough to figure out the patterns after a few retries, and before you know it, no problems. But with Roller Bob, I still haven't cracked the code. As a result, too many rockets insert themselves into Woody's rectum. I can't imagine ever having played through this stage without dying at least once. Thank goodness for the checkpoints. The toys save Buzz by showing Sid they are really alive, which scares Sid so bad he vows never to hurt toys again. Cool, but it's surprising he didn't know given how much moving around Woody did on his workbench while being burned alive. I know, thinks Woody. I could use RC to go back and find Buzz. Gee, I hope Andy charged your batteries, RC. Oh my gosh, stop neglecting the power of commas! Also, Woody could have easily rode RC in the movie while going to get Buzz, but here's the game, which gives him a bit more sense. Retro Toy Story to bring you Mario Kart. No racing laps here, but it's in a third-person 3D perspective, and it actually controls pretty well. That being said, this level was actually cut from the SNES version. I wonder why. But then we get back to the worst driving controls, and power cells needed to be left out in the street. That's a safety hazard! Just like in the movie, you use the rocket on Buzz's back to take to the sky, but this time, RC is getting left behind. Dang it, how did RC get back to Andy for that one stunt in Toy Story 2? Also, this is not falling with style. This is just straight up flying. I'm sorry, I thought Buzz Lightyear was not a flying toy. I don't remember struggling as badly as I did when recording the footage, but that's not why I'm counting the sin right here. I'm counting it for one little thing, which is that not only is there no password system in the North American release of this game, the limited continues, which are the only way to keep playing after game over, are only given after every 310 stars in total. Once you run out of continues, it's all the way back to the beginning of the game. But no way was I going through all that again, so I used a cheat code. What's it to ya? I beat this game without cheat codes, so I don't feel bad about it. So on the press start screen, before pressing start, press A, B, right, A, C, A, down, A, B, right, A, and do it quickly. Then press start. You'll know you did it right when you hear Woody say, "Hot, hot, hot." Then begin the game as normal. Now, anytime you want to skip a level, just pause the game and press A while the game is paused. This wouldn't have been an issue in the PAL release, where passwords do exist, and this is already a pretty short game anyway. But why did America get shafted on the whole password ordeal? They couldn't have used a different image? This is the cowboy bedsheet from before Andy got Buzz. It's not the Buzz Lightyear bedsheet that we'd see in this last image from the film's ending shot. Where's the consistency, dang it? Well done! You have completed Toy Story. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for playing. Ah, well, you know, not one of the greatest games, but considering movie license games, this one was actually pretty decent. I need you to appreciate more of this music, because this is the only other track in the game that sounds unique for Genesis. To be honest, I feel it would be a lot more rewarding if we heard music like this only after having completed the game. Don't get me wrong, I love the renditions done for both You've Got a Friend in Me and Strange Things in this game, but I feel kinda spoiled after listening to Strange Things on the title screen sounding the way it does on the Genesis. They had the voices of the aliens and the Sergeant and the stand-in voices for Buzz and Woody, but why is Wallace Shawn credited? Yeah, he's the voice of Rex, but no Rex voice clips are in this game, so what's Wallace Shawn being credited for exactly? D-pad, use this button to move Woody around. Press left or right to make him walk in those directions. Since Woody is such a tall toy, you may need to press down from time to time so he can duck under low hazards. You can also press up diagonally on the D-pad while Woody is using his pull string to aim it higher. You don't have to move the D-pad diagonally to aim higher, just press up on its own, so that parenthesis was wasted. Control options. This screen alters the game to your liking. You can change the D-pad configuration, number of tries per game, and storyline option. You can change the D-pad configuration? No, you can't. All you can adjust is which buttons jump and which ones are lasso. There are 5 fun-filled levels to Toy Story with several stages in each level. Well, that's not how the game presents them. All I see is 18 levels. This difference listed in the manual means nothing to me. Red alert. The troops have returned to notify Woody that Andy is on his way back to his room. No, they saw Andy returning to his room with Buzz and told Woody about it through the baby monitor. You have to find a way to get all of the wandering toys back into the big toy box or under Andy's bed before Andy returns to his room. This level is timed, so you better hurry. Wait, you're calling it a level now? I thought this was called a stage. Ego check. The competition is on. Woody has to keep up with Buzz to prove he's just as good a toy as the laser-toting loud guy. Buzz moves rather quickly. You must keep up with him or you'll have to try again. This makes it sound like this level, like the last one, is also timed. It's not, it's just a linear platformer level, that's all. Big boss challenge. Woody is sad to wake up in the toy box. His imagination creates a nightmare version of Buzz who shoots real lasers. Woody must conquer his fears of Buzz to escape this stage. That sounds like a hallucination, not a dream like how the game describes it. Revenge of the Toys. With Buzz out of the picture permanently, the toys align against Woody. They saw Woody knock Buzz out of the window to a fate worse than being forgotten. Now Woody has to make it out of Andy's room to help Buzz and clear his name with the toys. The big problem here, however, is that all of the toys are scared of him and he now must escape a room full of terrified toys. All of the toys? Isn't the point of the level to also help Rex escape the room? Is consistency not in the manual writer's vocab? Sid's Workbench of Horrors. I love this stage title, but in game, this stage is just called Sid's Workbench. Traveler's Tales, Disney Interactive, and Pixar have collaborated on the title you have in your hands, Toy Story, the video game. In fact, the models used in this game were taken directly from the same sources as those used in the film. When you play Woody in the video game, you really get the feeling that you are Woody and not just something similar to the character you remember in the film. Wasn't that how people felt with controlling digitized sprites in Mortal Kombat, which, by the way, hasn't aged that well?
I've always wanted to put a spaceman into orbit.